Welcome to part two of your first semester final review. Part one, we covered a little over half of the main idea information. Again, the vocab and several main idea topics are on Quizlet. The link is shared with you. Otherwise, I'm going to jump right into part two here. Booker T. Washington, we talked about his thoughts on being a leader in education and an advocate for African Americans to get educated, especially after following Reconstruction and the Civil War. What his focus was, he told students to focus on being economically secure. That should be a motivation for being educated. Make yourself valuable to society, and the rest will take care of itself. So Washington really thought that students needed to focus on being economically secure to make sure their future was one that they're gonna enjoy. Andrew Carnegie, what was his thoughts on wealthy businessmen and what were his tactics? He really truly believed that his success, and his empire of U.S. Steel helped the entire nation. He thought that, those captains of industry, as they were known as, he thought that by them giving jobs, making these products, making the whole country better was what America needed. His success relied on what we called vertical consolidation. Moving on to the other captain of industry / robber baron, John Rockefeller. He was the creator and owner of Standard Oil. Now, how did he do that? He used horizontal consolidation, where he managed a trust made up of Standard Oil and all of Standard Oil's allied companies, which allowed him to create a monopoly that was good for him, but bad for most other people in America because he could control the prices, which made it difficult on everybody else. What led to America's industrial growth of the later 1800s? This allowed guys like Carnegie and Rockefeller to succeed. Simply advancements in technology. There were so many inventions that we talked about: steel, oil, just the process of being able to use electricity for all those new products just kind of created a boom in the U.S. and made us the leader in the world when it came to technology and advancements in a revolution. Where did most European immigrants enter the U.S. during the late 1800s? Ellis Island, New York City, still there today. Here's the island in its proximity to the statue. We talked several days in depth about this and how that may have felt for some of those immigrants pretty difficult, but this is where they entered. What was a major incentive of settling the Midwest during the late 1800s, early 1900s? So why would these people want to come from Europe all the way over to a place that they'd never been, to the middle of the U.S., to places like Nebraska? Very simply, it was free land. I mean, imagine giving out land today. I think people would jump to go anywhere if we got free land today. It was legal, private ownership of land. We talked about how difficult homesteading was, but it was still theirs. It was something they could call their own. Several families, especially around here, still have their original homestead, that their ancestors first grew up on. Significance of the Panama Canal. Talked about this as a result of the Spanish-American War, and it cut a canal through the country of Panama that made cut travel times in half and really helped facilitate movement between the Atlantic and Pacific ports. Still in use today. Ships are still built so they can fit through this canal and just, it really facilitates travel throughout the world. What role did the government play in the U.S. economy during World War I? Simply, the fact that they regulated everything. Regulated the production of war goods. They had days where you shouldn't eat certain foods. They turned production plants into ammunition plants to build, ammunition, guns, tanks, you name it. Everything was geared towards the war. We kind of see a repeat of that in World War II. Why was the NAACP founded? NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. It was founded during the late 1800s, early 1900s, 1909, to fight discrimination through the court system. So have a legal battle rather than just fight maybe violently or speak out in public. They wanted to use, the laws to make sure that they were being treated equally. What was the immediate result of the Spanish-American War? Puerto Rico and Guam, which is way over here by Japan, were made unincorporated U.S. territories that still to this day, are very beneficial to us. Puerto Rico has often been called the 51st state. Guam, we have a military base on, proximity to Japan, Vietnam, the Philippines became very beneficial to us during World War II, and still, is a very, very close proximity to Asia, which is a big benefit for us today. Terms of the Treaty of Versailles, which was the treaty that ended World War I, it insisted on Germany paying reparations, which was money, to the Allies. Now, they just got done paying these reparations about 2 years ago, and in effect, this placed all the blame of World War I on Germany, which, that could have been true, but this also set up a little bit of World War II, and it angered some people from Germany, especially Adolf Hitler, that Germany was the only one responsible for World War I, so they had to pay reparations. What or how would the first few years of World War I be best described? Simply a stalemate, which meant back and forth fighting. No one's really gaining ground. Biggest characteristic was trench warfare right here along the France, Belgium, Germany border. And it was just fighting for literally yards of ground at a time. That lasted a couple years, and it was very bloody, very dirty, very difficult, but it was a stalemate. Plessy versus Ferguson, one of the most famous Supreme Court cases in our history. We talked about 1896. This was the case that declared separate but equal to be legal, in effect making segregation legal in the U.S. The problem was it wasn't equal. We had separate facilities, but oftentimes the colored facilities for African Americans was much less luxurious, oftentimes dirty, falling apart, pretty difficult. So that legalized segregation all the way to 1954 when Brown versus Board of Education reversed this case. That was the last one. The only thing left to say to you guys is just make sure you go through these videos a couple times. Quizlet is always there for you to go to anytime. You can use your iPad, phone, computer to study that. If you do that and you watch the videos, you will be more than prepared for your final. Remember, it's 10% of your grade. It's important to prepare to the best of your abilities. If you have questions, email me or see me before the test day. Other than that, guys, good luck. I know you're all going to do great. Do your best, and you'll be fine. See ya.